Says it's starting, but it did this last time. Okay, here we go. Hello, 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 and welcome to Light the Heart. We are back after our beautiful holiday break and a snafu with Facebook not actually recording our video. So, welcome to Light the Heart podcast. I'm Becca.
I'm Abby.
And we have Larry Sanders with us today from Open Book Life Services. And Larry, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, good morning. My name is Larry Sanders. I am a co-founder of Open Book Life Services. We offer life services or, mentoring, coaching, just a variety of different things that I've encountered that we need to work on. Um, that's a more of a holistic approach to addressing what barriers that these individuals may have.
Beautiful. I love that you have this holistic approach. As social workers, we have that same lens.
Yes.
And it sounds like you've just done a beautiful job of finding gaps in the community that need to be serviced to.
After I've done this, I don't want to age myself, but I've been doing this for a little while, at least 18 to 20 years. And it's like you see all these different programs and services that don't really cover everything when they come down to addressing, barriers that individuals have. So
Yeah.
this organization, Open Book, is pretty much to try to fill the gap for individuals that may not qualify or fit into that nice little mold under certain programs and services that's out there in the community.
Yeah. That makes sense. There's, like, as humans, we're multidimensional beings, and there's so many different layers of us.
Exactly.
And not one thing can touch it, right? And you as a creative and having a heart for the community, with, that in mind, we're able to find these pieces that you're like, I don't think these people or this service is here.
Well, as a matter of fact, we have a financial literacy class starting next week. And one of the reason why that came about was there's not a lot of organizations that are helping in that area as far as financial education.
I agree.
And it's not being taught in school anymore. So what's the difference between a bank and a credit union, a checking account and a savings account? What's the importance of credit? How money could damage your relationship? I mean, who covers that in a program? And these are some of the things that we want to talk about because it can make a difference if you're in a relationship, even with some friendships. I have a friend, and we've been knowing each other for years, and his rule has always been we can never borrow money from each other because I don't want that to be a problem if I don't pay him back or he don't pay me back, and then you develop these harsh feelings because you owe me money. So we have completely removed that part of the relationship as far as borrowing money from being friends.
It's a nice boundary that you have.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I've been knowing you all life. You can't loan me $20, and you'd be like, no. I'll pay you back. You know where I live. You know where I got a job. No. He just refused to do it.
Yeah.
And he was like, that's the boundary.
Nice.
But when you're in relationships or when you're dealing with other friends, family, sometimes we don't remember those boundaries. And we cross those boundaries, and if something happened where the money is not repaid, it's like, hey, I feel a certain way towards this individual, and how do you deal with that? How do you move past those things?
Yeah, and then how do you repair it, right?
Yeah.
Because money is a very interesting thing, and it can our perception of money can really impact how we move through life, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting that this is coming up. Abby and I were literally just talking about money right before this podcast.
We were, and money wounds specifically.
Yeah, I think people have a lot of wounding around money, especially if you're coming from like a very fundamentalist religious background where money is, quote, the root of all evil. And so then it's bad to have money, or you're coming from a place of poverty. And as you stated, Larry, you don't have the opportunity to learn how to manage money or how to use it properly. just a tool for survival instead of a tool for investment or your future. We're not learning about 401ks and IRAs and stocks and investment properties and things like that because we don't have that. We're like, how much money do we have for groceries? Are we going grocery shopping this week?
Yeah.
Right? So I think that there's a lot of wounding around money
Yeah.
in the collective.
Well, I labeled the little workshop that I deal with more money, more problems.
Ah.
Because, as you get money,
Wait,
all those things come
you're
into
right.
play.
Yeah.
What to do with the money is the key things that we try to focus on because we want individuals to understand that your money can work for you.
Mm.
You don't always have to work for the money.
Mm.
But how do you set up a portfolio that's going to allow you to develop? What options are available? You have the savings account, the checking account, stocks, bonds, mutual fund. What is stock options if you're working for an employer? Is that important to you?
Mm.
Right.
All these things, and you would think, okay, well, you got to work for a Fortune 500 company to receive stock options, but that's untrue. Individuals that work at Home Depot have a stock option.
Okay, I did
That they
not
can
know
What?
that.
get. So
Seriously?
it's like, but if you don't know what it is, they're gonna ask you, you want a stock option? And you be like, nah, I'm just gonna buy some scratch offs. And it's like, no, that's not.
Larry's calling me out.
Poverty mindset. We're there.
Right,
Okay.
right. That's not gonna do it. The
I
stock
feel
option.
attacked, Larry. I feel attacked.
Sorry.
No,
sorry.
this is so
This is
good.
great. This is why we have these conversations.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what is the traps out there that people are falling into?
Okay, I like that.
Payday advance, bad, bad. Don't do it. But so many people are like,
Yes.
hey, I'm in this crisis situation. I need to borrow money, and nobody else will loan me money. So I go to that avenue.
That ruined my credit, by
Yeah,
the
yeah.
way. Destroyed it.
I went through a loop of that as well in my early 20s.
I
It's so hard to get out of too, right?
yes.
It makes you rely on it.
Yeah, you fall into that trap or that hole, and it's like it could take you 7 years to get out of it to fix your credit. Because that's what did it for me. I was a college student, and they gave me a credit card that was just like,
Yeah.
this is great. Oh, you gotta pay us $20 a month. I was like, I can do that.
Yeah.
So I racked up this huge $7,000 bill.
Yes.
Partying, renting cars.
Yeah.
I joined a fraternity. I went all. But but no one told me about credit.
No.
That I would be like, that minimum payment is not going to do nothing to the principal, to the interest. I mean, I never gave any, thought to any of that stuff. It was just like I got a card. They gave me, this incredible limit.
Freedom.
Yeah. I'm on my own. My parents are not
Young
around.
man.
Yeah. I was just like, let's go party.
Maybe you're in college. I mean.
Well, a similar thing happened to my sister as well. I think that age group really was actually attacked by credit card companies when they were in that coming right out of high school.
Yes.
Because it was very prevalent among her friends and that kind of age group. So I think like it was predatory in nature.
Yeah, they're primed for it.
We don't know to watch out for these predatory things always.
So and that's another thing that we talk about. What is the predators that's out there?
Yeah.
Like the payday advance, the credit cards, looking at that APR, because if you ever get a credit card, the only thing that's in bold print is the interest rate that you're gonna pay, and if you don't know what it is, it's like that. I guess you need this credit card and to get the interest.
Yeah, and the
Because that's
interest is
something
what gets you, right?
Exactly.
And with major purchases, it's the interest that gets you too, because you typically are going to pay the interest first, right?
Yeah.
So you're not even making a payment really on what you purchased.
Exactly. So if some credit companies or some credit cards would be like, okay, if you we'll give you interest free for 6 months or for a year, that's really what you should take advantage of. And whatever items you paying, you want to pay it off within that time limit of that interest free. Because once that interest kicks in, that's what really adds to the principal.
Okay.
And that's when they start making.
That's very good advice. Thank
super
you,
good
Larry.
advice. So I have a question. So say, I think a lot of people that are watching this or are part of our collective here at Cat Good probably have a lot of money wounding from growing up either without money or not taught how to manage their money.
Mhm.
And so if you are dealing with like a wounding around finances and see money as a negative thing, what would be your advice?
We have to turn that perception around. What is it that, you know, kind of look at what was the root cause?
Mm-hmm.
Was it a bad credit experience, or you had a conflict with another person because of that? And then from there, I can start to take those steps towards how money could be viewed as a tool or a resource that you could use, develop, and it could benefit you greater in the long term as opposed to just the immediate gratification.
Right.
And I think that's the other thing that a lot of people want. They want everything right now,
Yeah.
and so that way you fall victim to certain things because everything seems appealing.
Mm-hmm.
Buy a car and spend $39 a week. That's a good deal for people that's just ready to react. But when you look at it long term, what is the interest? What is is these biweekly or
Mm-hmm.
monthly, or what's the catch?
Mm-hmm. What's the catch?
So you have to really be aware of all of the things that's the strings that's tied to it before making decisions
I
and
like
looking at a big picture.
Yeah. I like the way you put that as a tool and a resource for stability,
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I think
benefit.
personally, like I always saw money as like something that like um, only really wealthy people had. And if I had it, I should probably spend it as quickly as possible because it's an evil thing. Like it's bad to have it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when you do have it, it's like, well, what do I do with this, right? And it can be confusing to switch that perception. It can be because it doesn't come necessarily from having a bad credit experience. It more comes from growing up without money or being told that money is a bad thing to have. Only people who are greedy have money. So that can be really challenging, I think, for people.
I think also you have to take into account what is success for you as far as
Ah,
when it comes to money.
Definition
Yeah.
is
Definition,
important.
yeah. Because some people are like, okay, I'm comfortable living within my means,
mm-hmm.
and this amount of money is I'm comfortable with that.
Yes.
I don't want to move outside that scope. But other individuals, it's like, how much money you want? The sky's the limit. Whatever I can get.
Yeah.
In the end, so those are the ones they on that slippery slope of,
Mm-hmm.
am I being greedy,
Mm-hmm.
or am I just I'm being motivated? I don't know what you want to label it.
I think that's a really good point because I do think we put self-imposed limits on ourselves and then it manifests in our life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, well, I guess 50K is about as good as I'm going to get. And then we don't see ourselves going past that. And so
Mhm.
we don't allow the opportunity to present itself.
Well, see, just like money, some people feel that credit is bad. I don't
Uh-huh.
want to have credit.
Yeah,
And what happens when you want to buy a car or you want to buy a house?
you can't.
If you have no credit, it's just like bad credit.
Mm-hmm.
That you have no history of payments that a mortgage company would feel comfortable giving you, a 100,000 or 52, whatever,
Yeah.
because you have nothing established.
Right.
So you want to understand that credit, just like money, can be a good thing, but you
Mm-hmm.
have to set your parameters and those limits and understand what I can live within my means.
Yeah.
With money, with credit, it's all about understanding what you need, what your basics are.
That's another thing too, you said within your means. I think the perception shift too, like even just using the $50,000 example, right? Like $50,000 to some people, they'd be drooling,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
And so shifting our perspective of discernment and discipline
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
of what is it that I prioritize I would like to spend my money on
Mm-hmm.
and invest in.
And how much will that
And
cost?
do I need to maybe cut back on some willy-nilly things that I'm just impulsively doing?
Exactly. So when you do that assessment, is what is my needs and
Uh-huh.
what is my wants, and
Ah,
putting those
yeah.
things in those categories,
Uh-huh.
Good.
because that helps you to prioritize what's important, what do I really need, and what do I really want.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like And it can be want driven if it's something like more travel or more
Venture.
property ownership. Like you might not need those things, but that can absolutely drive better financial habits, is what I'm hearing.
Exactly.
Even a want is not a negative.
No,
Yeah.
no. I mean, you just have to prioritize it and design it where my want is not gonna cause any other problems in other
Right.
With my
areas.
needs.
With my needs. Yeah, you know.
Yes.
And that was one of the things, when I was
Mhm.
in college, it was like I would take my bill money and go on vacation. And then when I come back from vacation, it's just like, wow, how am I gonna pay these bills? So
Oops.
that's when the problem comes where I'm mixing my priorities up, where my
Mm.
wants and my needs are conflicting each other, and
Right.
that's when people fall into. I have this survival instinct,
Mhm.
and I start making decisions that's not the best financial decision.
So we just picked up on another layer.
Yeah.
Not only is there this lack mindset, but there's this hole that sometimes we try to fill impulsively,
Mhm.
right? Like when I was in my 20s, I had this kind of link with a risky behavior of like shopping, right?
Mhm.
Like I would be butthurt or sad or frustrated about something, and then I'd be like, I have an hour, I'm gonna go to Target, or I'm gonna go to Walmart, or I'm gonna just go over here real quick. And when you say,
I'm still dealing with
Oh
that
my
now.
God.
I love
now I'm
shoes.
calling you out,
Here's
Larry.
what Larry's feeling
I love
attacked now.
Target. Target is my store.
Oh,
You love
yeah.
shoes?
And I love shoes.
Yes.
So when I go to the shoe depot and I see clearance, I just lose my mind. It's just
Right,
like,
clearance is your best friend, right?
yeah. I don't need these pair of shoes, but I'm gonna buy them anyway. I'm trying to work on that. I'm an impulsive buyer.
Yeah.
I see something, it's just like I have to
Look,
have
and
it.
I like to
You
look
notice.
nice too. Like I like to look
Yeah.
a certain way, and I'll be
Yeah.
like, that would look really
Yeah.
nice.
You do.
Yeah. Do I need it?
I did do a harm reduction with it, Larry. And
Oh.
it sounds like you had done it too, because you went to the clearance, right?
Yes.
It's a harm reduction.
Yeah.
What I started to do is I'll go over to, like that Cat Heaven Can Wait store. I'll go over to Courting Outlet, look through those bins
That's
on
it.
the $5 day or whatever.
Yeah.
Because then, I'm like, okay, I'm only spending $10.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so that justify you feel better.
I
got
can
a
still
deal.
do the thing, but it doesn't need to harm me
It
now.
doesn't have to be $300.
Right.
Yeah, I
So,
like that.
Impulse buying is something that I'm still working on.
Me
to be
too.
honest.
Me too.
I like retail therapy, so
Yes.
that's my
And I think for me, especially like as a small business owner who's like super invested in the community, I'm like, the business could totally use this. All of our clients can use this. I need this thing because like I want to offer all these things.
Yes.
This has gotten me into trouble. Like
And
with
you
the
just-
singing bowls and stuff.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the first ones I was looking at were what, like $2,000.
But you harm reduced it.
It was way less.
Yes.
See, that's what you do. Harm reduce. That's the justification for making purchases.
Oh my goodness. Priorities.
Yeah.
I like that we're talking about the layers though, because it is important. Again, like in the beginning of this conversation, we talked about how humans are multidimensional. Just money alone is multidimensional, and also, there's a vibration to it. There's a currency to it, right? A current to it, a flow.
The current sea.
Yeah, and
There's a
so
song called The Current Sea. Maybe we should listen to it at the end of this. By the way,
we
keep going.
probably
Sorry.
should. But like Larry was talking when Becca asked that question to him, Larry said it's perception, right? That we have to shift first. And I think that stems from, obviously, like, okay, so a couple weeks ago we talked about shadow work, right? So it's like going back to where does this stem from, right?
Yep.
And most likely it's generational in nature.
Uh-huh.
So it's a lot to shed. It's a lot to shed, but I think too, not trying to do it on your own. That's why I love that we have this service, Larry, and that we have, we can kind of spread this mindset of motivation to be financially independent and stable and help each other.
Yeah.
Because, we get kind of like bogged down too close to the tree, so to speak. And, I might go to Target and whatever. And then maybe Becca says, girl,
what are you doing?
I thought you were on your financial stuff. I thought you had some goals here. What's going on? And that holds me accountable.
Yeah. But we
Can't
also
do it alone.
we have to also give ourselves a little grace. Also,
That's true.
you gotta have that process of like I said, that harm damage. I can still buy it.
Mhm.
I just don't have to spend $2,000. I could justify it about 200. That's better,
Yeah.
and I'm still getting what I want, and I'm not doing too much damage to the budget.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing is prioritizing your budget. How much money you have coming in, how much you want to have going out, how much do you want to contribute towards savings or retirement for the future. All that plays a part.
Budgeting is huge, and
It's
nobody
huge.
ever taught us.
Well, and here's the
really.
thing. I think it's so great that Larry is offering this because I don't
Yes.
know any place that is doing like basic financial literacy education in Muskegon.
And,
Yeah.
and see, there are some groups out there, but it's like, I think we're all, getting started around the same time.
Ah, okay.
It's been
Beautiful.
brought
Okay,
to
good.
the
Well,
point that it's
good
there.
because we need it, and everybody who's starting to do it can reach
Yeah.
the group of people that's going to
Right.
come to them.
Well,
That's fabulous.
I thank you guys for motivating me to take this step because this is something that I've been passionate about. I have a business degree. I was supposed to be the Wolf of Wall Street,
Oh.
but I was gonna start my own hedge fund. That didn't
Hey.
happen. I got into social work, but I still have that passion for finance.
Ah,
Exactly.
and how to
we
use
need
your money.
Larry.
So it's like, so this 8-week class is going to be covering a number of different things, but it's going to focus on money as a resource, and credit. That's important, and just some things on what you should consider with doing with your money,
Mhm.
and finding that pattern or that mode that's right for
Yeah.
you. Because everybody, some people are more aggressive, more people are more moderate. They're not very risky individuals.
Mhm.
They want to be safe. So bonds and T-bills, that's for you. But if you want to be more aggressive,
Yeah,
and
I want to know about the risky stuff
the
because
risk,
that's going to hit
then
my ADD. Like, let's get the adrenaline pumping thing.
that would be more of the stocks.
Oh, let's go.
And the mutual funds, because they could be very aggressive and they're fast moving. But you also have to understand the market to see what is a good trend.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Beautiful. And within your 8-week course, how long are the classes each week?
We normally try to do just an hour,
Yeah.
maybe an hour 15 minutes, because I know after a certain period of time, people start to fade away and start thinking about other stuff.
Yeah.
But it's very intense, and we're gonna get into doing some hands-on activities as well as
cool.
discussion. So I have a PowerPoint, but I try to make the class more interactive.
I love that.
Because if you can feel that energy in the class and understand how that impacts you, then you receive more. So that hour is really beneficial.
I would say so. After too much, like you say, they kind of go
Yeah,
elsewhere
yeah.
with their brain.
It says,
It's a lot of information that you're putting in there,
Exactly.
right? And these people that are taking the class don't have that information, so it's going to take a little bit for that to soak in. I like that you do an hour and then they have a week to kind of try to implement
Mhm.
and chew on it and process that information.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
How did you determine that your financial institution is the best for you? Did you go with a bank or did you go with a credit
So
union?
I'll answer that because
Yeah.
okay. So the way that I determined what financial institution to use for chaotic good was I wanted a very local
Mhm.
institution that was because I'm a very local community based person. Okay, and so it had to be truly local.
Mhm.
It had to care about the community as much as I do, so it had to be investing in the community
Okay.
in a real tangible way. And it had to be a credit union because it's member owned.
Okay.
So I actually use Community Choice Credit Union just
Okay.
right here. They only have a few locations. They're local to West Michigan. They give out turkeys. They are very invested in the community. Everybody who works there loves Muskegon. They volunteer in the community with open, beautiful hearts. And so that's how I actually chose the financial institution that I was going to work with.
Yeah. And to be honest, I never really knew
Okay.
how to choose which financial institution. In fact, up until like 2 years ago, I thought I couldn't get into a credit union because I thought you had to have good credit.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I didn't really know Larry. And so when I met Becca and she had told me she was using them and all the good things about them, I switched over to that.
And see, but a lot of individuals are in that same boat.
Yeah.
They don't know what's, you know, I felt when I started that I wanted to go with a bank because most of the banks are, they're throughout the state. The
Yeah.
locations are everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
If I travel outside of Michigan, there's going to be a bank that's going to be there for me.
Yeah.
So I tend to went in that direction, but I didn't look at the community investment. I didn't look at, if there was a membership fee or a service or how much I had to maintain into my accounts
Right.
until I lived that experience, and I was just like, whoa, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that I was going to get penalized for not having enough money in my account.
Oh,
That's another
ouch.
thing too.
So those are all the things that I had no idea until I experienced it. So some of the things that I'm talking about is not just textbooks, it's life lessons learned.
Oh, absolutely.
Could be one though.
Life experience trumps everything.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
right. It really does.
Like you said about the credit, I thought that, I was thinking that in order for you to become a member of a credit union, you had to be, like a teacher or a nurse.
Yeah.
Because
That
that's
makes sense
they
to
kind
me
of,
too, yeah.
direct. So it was like, I'm not a teacher, or I'm not a nurse, or I'm not an auto production worker, so I can't get a part of the credit union. But it was just like, no, it's open to everyone.
Yep.
And
I
I was
did
like,
not
really?
know until like 32 years old.
Yeah, like really. Nobody told me that I can get, and depending on the account, some of them is $5 to open.
Yeah.
I was thinking you have to have a lot of money
Right.
to open an account. No,
Yes.
it can be $5 with
I
some of
did
these
too.
credit unions. So now I'm like I moved into a credit union because I wanted something local. I wanted something that's going to be more user friendly for me. And sometimes the banks can be charged with certain fees that the credit union may not.
Right. And if you're really local with a really local place, you walk in, they know your face, they know who you are. If you do have a little hiccup, they're like, "Oh, don't worry about it. We're gonna remove these quote unquote fees that we would normally like." They work with you in a different way.
Right.
You're a person to them.
Yeah.
But it gets really looking at all of these factors and making a decision because in some cases, banks are just as good as credit unions.
Yeah.
It just really depends on the institution and how they utilize that philosophy of working with you as a financial institution.
So what would be an advantage, say, to go through a bank? Like what types of purchases would be better suited for a bank, would you say, Larry?
It depends on your services that you're looking for, your locations. That's why I'm still with a bank. I'm with both. I have a credit union and a bank.
Okay.
Because I travel throughout the state a lot, and I never carry cash. I'm always got my your card or your Apple Pay or whatever. And banks usually have more transactions as far as ATMs, service hours, locations. Some actually offer better rates when it comes down to security deposits, which is like a CD.
Okay.
So
Okay, yeah.
if you got a huge amount of money or lump sum of money that you want to save, sometimes the banks give you a little bit more as far as a better rate.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that way you get a better return on the money that you're saving.
That's
So
good to
those
know.
are things that, if you're in those situations, banks could be a little bit better.
Okay. So maybe a little bit of both depending on your needs.
Yes.
Gotcha. I think we're going in a really good direction with this
Me
conversation. We're getting some comments, so we're gonna see what they are. Oh, Andy O'Reilly. Hi, Andy. Andy says, "Hey, Larry."
Hi,
Hey, Andy was my first interview.
What? I love
Andy,
Andy. Andy is so great. We love him.
We do. And Mara and Cindy and Deb and David. Good morning, everybody.
Oh, Deb says, "Money, is it the root of all evil?" So let's talk about that because Abby and I actually talked about that this morning.
Literally right
before Larry walked in, and I'm like, obviously we don't plan what we're going to talk about, and so it's a very organic podcast, and so it's really interesting how it kind of organically unfolds.
Yeah.
So Abby and I were actually having a conversation this morning around deep wounding around money and being taught, primarily from a religious perspective,
Yep.
that money is the root of all evil. And so, here we do like to define terms. It's really important that we define what something means to us. Like Larry was saying earlier, what does success mean? If we get really clear about it, then we can like play with it, readjust our thinking about it. It gets easier to work on. And so, my first question would be, who told you that? So who told you that, right? Where did it really come from would be my first thing. And the second thing is, remember guys, everything is neutral until we assign value to it. We're the ones assigning value to it.
Exactly.
And so somebody else told us that's the value of money. Okay, somebody else, like, it's not just inherently evil. We were told it is, right? And so we started assigning that value to it. Okay, so it can have, negative connotations if we don't know how to handle it, if we're dealing with people or around people who we see them being greedy or misappropriating it. And so then it can start to have that connotation. But then really the question becomes, why are we putting ourselves around those type of people? And how can we remove ourselves and put ourselves around people who have a better perspective around it?
Yeah.
Okay, and how can we then shift our perspective? And so if we think of money as a currency, it's fluid, it's liquid, it flows, right? We always talk about money as something that flows. Okay, so that was the first thing I did to start working on my concept of money. Was it's gonna flow to me easily. I'm always gonna have an abundance of it, so that I can use it in all the beautiful ways that I would like to improve my life and the life of my community in a positive way, right? And so I started there. And then I also started to think of money as this beautiful goddess in a forest with silver trees that grow money. And she really, really wants to help you. And she really wants to give you as much money as you want. And this helped a lot with going into meditation or in trance and having conversations with this image that is completely different than what had been imposed upon me previously. And so when I started to do that, it started to shift my perspective around money, what it was, what it could be used for, my lack mindset around it. And it is a very challenging thing to work on, because it is super deeply rooted, at least for me personally, just speaking from my own personal experience. And so I am not by any means done working on it, but I don't think we're ever really done working on things, right?
No.
And so there's always room to grow. And
Always
so,
one step closer.
yeah, we're just
Process.
spiraling up, getting better at it, moving through it with more ease, maybe, right? And then just improving the mindset. And so I hope that is helpful. Hi, David.
Hello, hello.
Oh, you're so welcome. Oh, Abby, David says hi.
Hi, David.
Money is Cindy, yes, money is a tool. It is only as good as you manage it. Yes. I love it. Yes.
Well, see, the person that kind of drilled in my head the whole concept about money was my dad. He was a production worker at General Motors. So money to him was everything. So he's always telling me there's no such thing as extra money.
Oh.
So I'm like, so everything has to, you can't. And he said, you never give people money, you never loan people money if it's going to hurt you in the long run. You only give what you able to, willing to lose. So if you give something away, don't expect it to come back.
Yes.
So don't give away your bill money because that person may buy you. And that's when the hurt feelings come into play. I gave you something that, in the long run, it actually hurt me to loan you that money. You don't do that. So if I give people money, if I loan people money, I only loan people money what I know that I could afford to lose.
It's the overflow. It's just what Abby and I like to talk about energetically is our cup should always be full and we only give our overflow.
Yes.
And so what I'm hearing is the same with money.
Same with money. Yeah.
I love that.
That's so helpful.
So it's like those principles has to be applied in like all parts of our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Absolutely.
So you don't, even at work in any situation, you got the overflow. Don't give,
Mhm.
you know, don't give
Don't
what's in
pour
your,
your cup.
don't empty out your cup because
Mhm.
it may not be refilled, and then you're upset.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where the
Yeah.
hurt comes
That's
from.
when the hurt
Mhm.
comes.
And I think that's why I love talking about it as a tool in using, like self discipline.
Mhm.
But like Larry said, not being too hard on myself
Yeah.
Mhm.
and,
Yeah.
allowing a little
You
play.
can still buy those shoes.
Yes, we can get the shoes.
Look,
We'll
I
go to the
like a
clearance.
nice
Yeah, we go to the
leather
clearance.
boot.
Leather,
I'll
yes.
tell you what, okay?
No, I like the balance of it because it doesn't feel like it's too much pressure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It feels motivating, empowering.
And it's the same thing with investing.
Mhm.
If you're going to invest your money, you have to understand you can't really look at the market every day.
So you're looking more long.
You
It's
look
a more
more
long game
long-term.
thing, right?
Yeah, because you can't.
It could change all the
Yeah,
time.
it can change all the time. So you can't react to all of the changes.
Yeah.
So you have
Just
to
let it
understand.
go.
I'm investing this. I'm comfortable with what I'm investing. It's not hurting me in the long run. So I can allow it to go up, down, and but it's all about the long game.
And
I
I
like
love
this.
playing long game. I'm a
Long
long game
game.
girl.
We're
I'm
here
a
for
long
that,
game
Larry.
girl.
It's
So-
the turtle energy.
Yeah,
Yes.
always the turtle. Always the turtle.
So if you're looking for some quick money, sometimes investment may not be the best thing.
Mhm.
But there are some other options out there, and we can definitely talk about it if individuals have questions, like doing these sessions. What's short term, what's long term, and really make some good decisions.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
This is
Yeah.
awesome. What a
It
great
really is.
conversation.
It
I'm so
really
glad
is.
you
I
came,
thank you
Larry.
guys. I mean, but
Thank you,
I mean,
Larry.
I thank you guys for allowing me to be here. I thank you guys for motivating me to take this step because, it's like, do I really want to do this?
You
Starting
really
up your own business is risque.
Yes, it
And
is.
You
you wanna
gotta
do that.
take risks.
Yeah.
We do.
So having that positive energy from you guys allowed me to take this step. I was like, I'm
Beautiful.
gonna do it.
And you're adding right back to us,
Yes.
with this
Yes.
knowledge and your energy, right? So it's reciprocal, Larry.
Well,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We really love the
Appreciate it.
symbiotic relationship.
Yeah,
We
so
do.
that's why I was like, I gotta sit on. I'm on the couch with these guys and talk about what we're trying to do.
That's right.
It's good.
Beautiful. Thank you for all those messages, and thank you for doing what you do, Larry.
Yeah.
I think it's just amazing.
Yeah, and you have so much to offer the community. And so I think with Open Book Life Services and just this being the first offering, I think it's just gonna really start to open up what you have to offer. I mean, you've got so much experience, so many different areas.
Yeah.
And you've done really beautiful work, like for the state and just a bunch of different places where, I mean, you're really just coming from a very knowledgeable place and you have such a good mindset that I just know that Open Book Life Services is going to be such an asset to our community.
Well, you helped me to nurture that and to take those ideas and concepts and move forward because it's like, you got a lot of stuff that, that you may want to do, but if you don't have the right energy and the right partners with you to move forward,
That's right.
it does play a part of it.
That's right.
That's very true.
It takes a village.
Yes,
We're
it
not
takes a
in this
village,
by ourselves.
And that's why it's like, even, taking that same concept, just like with the overflow.
Yep.
You have to move in area with the finances. If you have a partner, you guys have to be on the same page.
Oh,
We do.
yeah.
Because
we
that could be a
do.
struggle. Because I mean, I like to shop. My wife likes to save. So it's like, okay, well, what's the middle ground where we
Where
both
can
get
we
what we
meet?
want? Yeah.
Yes.
So if you
And that's
guys,
why we do clearance.
yes, and you have to understand, even like in your relationship, who is the better individual to handle or manage the money?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
that's
You know.
actually very important.
Because if it doesn't go right, you can see what kind of problems that could create.
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
So if you're managing the money and you're responsible, then are you making wise choices? Are you making the right moves when it comes down to moving forward with your finances?
That's right.
The 401k, the whatever, the retirement, what is the Roth? It's so many different investment opportunities that you can move in. What is the best one for you?
Right.
So it is a very communicative thing.
Yes.
And it's not like a honey, we got a topic. And I hate when people approach stuff that way. I think it's more like, hey,
Hey,
we got this going on. What do we want to
yes.
do with it?
Keep
How
it
are we
open.
working with
Excitement.
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Like, I like to bring that mindset to conversations instead. I think
Mhm.
people make topics that they
So
think are
serious.
scary really like, "Rrr," and it's like you're making it worse. Like, don't do that to yourself. Like, let's approach it with the mind and the joy of a little child. Like, this might be fun. Let's see what comes up.
Yes, I like that. Open and curious.
Open and
Yes.
curious.
Yeah, playful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And then the other thing is, like we was talking about living within your means. You know, if
Right.
you have a family, you have kids, that play another dynamic in
Yeah.
that budget.
Oh, absolutely.
Big time.
You know, if you have teenagers,
Oh
they
God,
got
they're
to eat
so
all the
expensive.
time. Yeah, they
Especially if
hungry
they're
all the
boys.
time.
And
So
they want to do sports and they
yes,
want to go do things with their friends and now they want to go plan what we're doing for spring break
Yeah.
and I'm just
Oh, that
like,
gives me an idea and a question, Larry. Um, do you offer it to teenagers at all ever?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Beautiful.
Because I mean, I think the sooner that we can start educating individuals about the
Right.
importance of finance, the better.
Right.
That way,
okay, so teens could sign up for this.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got teenagers for you.
I mean,
Oh, Larry, thank
because
you.
you said it when you go to college,
Yeah.
it's a whole new world,
Yeah.
and 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 I got caught up in credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
They was just handing them out like candy.
They
Here you
were.
go, take it. And I'm thinking, I can make these payments, and not realizing how that could impact my credit
Mm.
after college.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I was paying no attention to long term. I'm
Right.
looking at right now. I can shop. I can buy what I need,
Yes.
and I was very impulsive, and I was buying things and not able to be able to pay off the credit card.
Yeah.
And so we have, men and women around that age group. We do have a lot of impulsivity, and we're out in this bright big world, and
Our
we get
prefrontal
autonomy,
lobe
and
is
we're
Yeah.
ready
not.
to fly. But
And money has changed so much. Um, you guys remember money orders?
Yeah.
Do you still use money orders?
I don't know.
I don't.
Do you
I
guys
don't
use
use
your
them.
checkbook?
I know people
I
who
do not use
I do not
checks.
use my checkbook.
See, it's like,
Yeah.
but if you don't know, it's like, and that's why I'm like, yeah, high school students, you need to know what all this stuff is. I mean, if you use it or if you don't use it, you at least want to have that knowledge.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So, on that note, I know a lot of people's teenage kids are in sports, and so they might be in practice when you're having your session, your class. So, are you going to offer this like another time, maybe like on a weekend, like a Sunday or something like that, where maybe more teenagers who are in these types of after school activities could come?
I would say yes. And one good thing about, with open book, this is so new. We're very small. It's getting off the ground and sort of in the Muskegon area. So I could be very versatile.
Nice.
We can do weekend classes because ultimately, I want to be able to feel good about contributing to the Muskegon community
Yes.
and helping people to understand the importance of finance. We want to also offer a self awareness workshop that we're working on. So
Beautiful.
we want to continue to partner with you guys and have a number of different workshops throughout the year.
Yeah.
So that way we can cover a number of different topics.
Yeah, I remember Keisha was saying she's going to do a self-esteem, self-awareness after the financial literacy
Yes,
so that
please.
we get real solid in the self.
Yeah.
And I think that is going to be amazing and beautiful for individuals who then it would actually like help them get off the ground with feeling good about themselves and make them feel more confident around the financial stuff and prime the pump for maybe some deeper classes that Abby and I and other people offer here.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. Healing is pretty much, or the first step to healing is pretty much just that self-awareness, right? So I think when I started to lean more fully into that as a mode of healing, just rising my awareness levels is a mode of healing and coping. Oh my goodness, did I see some things.
Yeah.
And they were beautiful, they were messy, they were all the things. but I seen them, and then I
Right.
could actually,
Yeah.
move in a different way once I saw them.
Well, I mean, I look at a lot of individuals are motivated by certain things. I mean, I want to have a car, or I want to have a place to stay. I want to be able to provide for my family. All these things are stemmed around finances.
Yeah, they are.
So if you don't understand those things, how are you going to achieve certain
Mm.
things that's going to build that, you know, I'm reaching certain goals,
I've
self
done
goals that
this.
I've done. Yeah, I can check
Feeling
off
good
the
and
things,
solid in the
you know.
self.
And then I'm also trying to get people to understand that um, the importance of being a homeowner as opposed to being a renter.
Big time,
It's
yeah.
a
That's
huge
huge.
difference because once you have ownership of something and there's a process of getting that ownership, how that makes you feel that, you know what, I have a solid housing situation where I can take care of myself, I can take care of my family.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
And that's
Absolutely.
important.
Yeah.
It's something that's going to get people out of survival mode,
Yeah.
right? Within
Yeah.
that perception.
Exactly.
And that's the first step, that getting out of survival mode is so key. And I think a lot of times, especially us, we're like really big on like the emotional, mental, that's kind of our area of expertise. The financial part of it is a really huge part of how we function
Yes.
in society.
Yeah.
It's necessary to know this stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm excited about it. Again,
We are
it's like
too.
this. I just think that I have a lot to share.
Oh, you do?
Knowledge.
Yes.
And it's like I don't know it all, and I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, no.
That's
There's
how we are
always
too.
room
Yeah.
to learn and to improve. So this is just another opportunity.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Another
And
resource.
as these classes come up, what I found with first offering classes to the community versus like individual things is from the cohort that comes, I learn.
Yeah.
I learn.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's just again this reciprocal energy, and it's met. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And see, we was talking about kids. Some they in all these different activities, and they think mom got the money.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm gonna cover it. My parents are gonna take care of it. And they don't anything that I gotta pay consumers energy or DTE. It's like mom got paid today, or my dad got paid today. They have money, and I need money.
Right.
And I want to go here, and I got this activity, and I need I need new clothes, I need new shoes.
Can I get the $200 Jordans,
Can I
Mom?
get-
They're
yeah.
great.
Yeah. They're gonna help me play.
They're
I'm
awesome.
gonna play ball better
So
because I got
much
these Jordans.
better.
Yeah.
It's true.
It is. It's
so
true. So true.
Yeah.
Abby, did you want to check comments?
Sure.
I think we got a lot more.
Oh, David. David, I'm at Chaotic Good now. Yep, I've been here for almost a year. So
It's a
in
year next
February it
month.
will be a year.
Yeah.
And it's been so beautiful. Becca is basically like a twin of mine. So being
Literally.
in each other's energy has been such an adventure, and we've learned so much. So thank you. That's so sweet. Cindy does. So Cindy's asking, Larry, do you know about retirement advice?
Ooh.
Yes, we kind of cover that also under the 401k. Again, it's finding something that's kind of what you're comfortable with. What is the goal as far as retirement? What does that look like? So in some situations you have to be aggressive, or you got to be kind of moderate, or you kind of in the middle. But it really depends on when are you going to retire.
What if
And
you're
what are you
close to a
looking for?
retirement and that's why you're asking the question?
I would say stay the course. I wouldn't make any drastic changes right now. You know, as before, the market is gonna go up. It's gonna go down. But that's the only real institution that we have associated with the 401k. You know,
So true.
if you concerned and you're worried about losing money in the stock market, you can kind of transition more to bonds as opposed to so you can adjust your mutual fund where it's more moderate as opposed to being aggressive.
Okay. And I have a question too, Larry. Like if somebody from like instead of just like let's say they couldn't come to this class class because of the time or something, let's just say, or they would prefer more of a one-on-one. Is that ever something that you would offer, some like a one-on-one
I would
consultation?
consider that. I would consider that.
Okay.
So would they email
Yep.
Open Book Life Services?
Yep, they can email Open Book Life Services.
Okay, so I think we're gonna drop the email right here in the comments.
Perfect.
Let me just.
But but I think if you have questions about your retirement, definitely I know there's a number of different institutions out there that can actually help you develop specifically what you want to do as far as your retirement goes. So I'm not going to say I'm here to replace those institutions because they know the market far better than I do because that's what they do on a daily
It's
basis.
just that you're a personable man, and it might be more cozy
Yeah.
of a step to talk with
Is-
you versus a corporation or something like that with the knowledge that you have.
Is the email just Open Book Life Services at Gmail?
At Yahoo.com.
At Yahoo?
Perfect.
Okay.
And then you guys talked about something like the Jordans.
Yeah.
Nike is a stock.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what that is worth? So if you are loyal to a certain name brand or a certain product, why just be a consumer? Why not be an investor?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's another
great.
thing that we talk about.
I don't ever think about it like that.
If you know Nike is going to be the
Uh-huh.
shoe that you are going to select, why not invest in Nike?
That's a really good point.
Yeah, it is a really good point.
And now you're actually making money by each shoe that you purchase. You're supporting that company, and that company supporting you.
I love it.
It's another way to look at
reciprocal energy.
Boop, boop, boop.
Yes.
Yes, Larry.
Yes.
So we have a question. What do you think about cryptocurrency? So that's the first one.
Okay.
Interesting.
And I was curious about that. And then Okisha, Ross Sanders says, as I'm nearing the retirement age, I have decided to go aggressive and add more money to the account. That would probably be the same thing I would do personally.
Get it, girl. You got this.
You're right.
I think Keisha, your wife, right?
Yeah,
that's your wife,
Keisha.
right? Yeah. Hi, Keisha.
but you're right. You have to determine, how much of a risk I'm willing to take and what am I comfortable with.
Yeah.
Cryptocurrency is one of those new forms of currencies that's out there, and it's a lot to go into it. So and that's a whole
so curious about
that's a whole nother segment if you guys
For
start
real.
into cryptocurrency because that's another new avenue. But again, there's risk involved with that as well.
Okay.
So you have to know all aspects.
You know me, I want to jump out of planes and shit. Like I'm a risk taker. So
I would like to learn more about cryptocurrency, Larry.
I'm like, can we get a lot of adrenaline going? That'd be great.
Crypto is definitely that adrenaline rush.
Oh my God. That's so funny.
Do we have I saw something with Cindy,
I think Cindy posted a.
Oh, okay. Yes. Thank you so
little-
much. We
Aw,
appreciate the
that's
star.
so
Thank you,
sweet.
Cindy. That's
Thank
our
you,
first
Cindy.
star.
We got a star. Thanks, Larry.
Well, thank you.
You must have added to it. Definitely.
Definitely.
Yes.
So we are at 53 minutes. So this is about usually when we wrap up. I feel like we could keep going for sure. It's been great talking to you.
So many layers, and it is really great to talk to you, Larry.
No, thank you guys for having me on here. Again, I'm excited about the class next week. And I think if you kind of new to the financial literacy, or if you've been around for a while and you just want to fine tune, it offers those opportunities.
Okay,
to learn.
good.
And to sign up, email you, or is there a form that
So there's a form. If you go to Chaotic Good Services page, we have the link to the form. We have a description of the course, the dates. Larry also posted it on his page. So there is a form to sign up, and it's from 5:30 to 6:30 on Tuesdays for the next 8 weeks.
Yes. And there's a QR code.
And there's a QR code.
That will make it easy too.
If you are more likely to open up the flyer and scan it with your phone. So you can even get to the form that way.
Yeah. Technology.
Yes.
So
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your comments and adding to our discussion.
Yeah, we love coming on and having these organic conversations on Thursdays, and we're excited to continue to grow and see what kind of conversations and what kind of people come into our space. And I'm sure we'll have Larry again in the
Okay,
future.
Definitely.
Thank you guys for having me. I would definitely come back again if you invite me. So
We
Yeah.
will.
Oh, you'll be invited.
Yes.
we can talk about anything.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yay.
Thanks, Larry.
So thank you, everybody, and we hope you have a very blessed day and a beautiful weekend.
Be well.